Who's joining me live this Monday night? Yeah, let's see if the chat gets going here. I'd love to see all of you conversing with me through the chat on this live stream. I go live every Monday nights, everybody, at 9 p.m. The Spikes and Gills live stream. I'm building a hunting and fishing community through my Spikes and Gills live streams every Monday nights at 9 p.m. So I want all of you to remember that. Mark your calendars for every Monday night at 9 p.m. Be on YouTube, join in the Spikes and Gills live stream so you can join the conversation, so you can hear the stories about individuals' hunting success, fishing success. You know, people send me their emails with their pictures and stories from really awesome hunts they've had or fishing experiences they've had, and I give them a shout out. I show their pics, share their story. They join the chat, and we just start conversing back and forth with one another, having a conversation about some sort of thing around to do with hunting or fishing, and we can learn from one another. And that's what my live streams every Monday night is all about. So we've got that one outdoor kid. Hey, buddy. I actually knew you'd be here. I almost skipped tonight because of the major snowstorm we're having here in Maine. I do believe that one outdoor kid is from Pennsylvania. Did this snow hit you in Pennsylvania, buddy? Are you getting this monstrous snowstorm? We've already got like a foot or more. It's just blowing 35 plus mile per hour winds, blowing snow everywhere. I almost skipped tonight's live stream to be snow blowing and cleaning snow. But I'll just get up early enough in the morning. But anyways, so those of you that are just joining the live stream, I would like to know via chat. Let me know in the chat below. Type away. Let me know if you ever have been fly fishing, if you are an avid fly fisherman or woman. Yeah, because I'm going to mention something that just took place in the last couple months. This is a current event around fishing regulations, fishing laws. It has to do with a lawsuit. A family filing a lawsuit to try to sue the Maine's Department of Inland Fish and Wildlife for unfair acts, for trying to deem certain waterways fly fishing only. This family thought it to be unfair. They filed this lawsuit, and they were actually backed by a Wisconsin group. Some Wisconsin state fishing group backed their whole lawsuit plans. And that it actually has to do with a constitutional right to food amendment, to be able to, it's a 2021, I guess back in 2021, a constitutional right to food amendment was filed, and let's see, and it was the Joe Samantha and Justin Legend. I can't pronounce their last name. They're from the Kennebec County in Maine, the state of Maine, and they filed this lawsuit. And the argument states that restrictive fishing methods, fly fishing only, restrictive fishing methods on specific waters infringe upon the constitutional right to harvest food, is their argument. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that constitutional right before, but I guess it was back in the year 2021 when this constitutional right to harvest food amendment thing, or constitutional amendment, was filed, was put into play in the state of Maine's laws and regulations for hunting and fishing and such, so forth, so on. But they argue that these rules are elite, requiring specialized, expensive. So this family that filed this lawsuit was trying to sue the Maine Department of Inland Fish and Wildlife. They argue that these rules that the department put in play that they require specialized, expensive gear, and that it limits access to specific streams or lakes or ponds that have these fly fishing only regulations. And so they deem this unfair. So what are some of your guys' thoughts on this? Do you think this family has a winning argument? I'm going to go into more detail about this and see what the update is on this. I'll be sharing that with you. But do you guys think that this family have a winning argument here? Is it unfair to make fly fishing only waters, or even make regulations like artificial lures only in certain waterways, things like that? What are some of your guys' thoughts on this? See, it says, I have never fly fished. So that one outdoor kid has never been fly fishing. I'm going to get back to this lawsuit story in just a sec, but I didn't know if you saw this in my lap. I'm sure you guys are wondering what this green tube is that I have in front of me. Supposedly, it's a very expensive fly rod. It's not from LL Bean. My boss at work wants me to try to sell this thing. Supposedly, this thing is worth $2,600, according to him, according to his research. So let's see here. What do we got here? Some really old antique fly rod. Oh, let's see here. Huh. Look at this thing. It's pretty neat craftsmanship here. It's an Orvis I can't even pronounce it. It's some really old antique Orvis fly rod that, according to my boss at work, is worth over $2,000, right around $2,600. He looked it up, did some research on it. So, and he wants me to sell it. He said he'd give me $500 if I were to sell it for at least $2,000. So, pretty neat, huh? That's what an antique old fly rod looks like. It's kind of octagonal shape, like, yeah, it's got a neat little design to it. Pretty neat. Let's see. No, not a winning argument. I think it should be the state's idea, not theirs. So, good point there. That one, outdoor kid. As I read further down, and as we all know, all of us sportsmen, all of us hunters and fishermen, we know that the biologists and wardens and the conservationists, really, pretty much for all intents and purposes, is us. Those of us that hunt and fish, we can be considered conservationists. We're part of this whole thing, this whole design around protecting and preserving and enhancing hunting and fishing quality for the future. And that's what the Maine Department of Inland Fish and Wildlife stands for. They stand for preserving, protecting, and enhancing specific inland fisheries, for ponds, lakes, streams, brooks. And obviously, and they do the same for hunting in the way of bear hunting, deer hunting, moose hunting, such, so forth, so on, turkey hunting. So, to be honest, I'm actually shocked that this family had the balls to even go forward with this, to push the envelope on this. Whereas, like, wouldn't you think that the Department of Inland Fish and Wildlife, like the game wardens, the reason why they wear the hats and the uniforms, why they have that job, that career, and the biologists, the state of Maine fisheries biologists, such, so forth, so on. When you think that they have our future at best interest, that they obviously know what they're doing. These individuals that are game wardens, that are biologists, scientists, they have a passion for the wildlife and for the fisheries, and they have a passion for conserving it, for in hopes that we can, that those of us sportsmen and sportswomen can enjoy hunting and fishing in the future, and that our children can enjoy hunting and fishing in the future. They have they have our best interests at hand. So I mean, kudos to this family for really speaking their opinions and their beliefs, and for going forth with this, for having the balls and audacity to really do this. Let's see. I'm curious as to see if they. I'm searching right now, looking to see if they won this argument, or if it was, or if the department wasn't sued or not. I'm trying to find out. So this fishing lawsuit was backed by a group out of Wisconsin. So this family, they were getting support and backup support from the state of Wisconsin and other groups of people and such, so forth, so on. Oh, let's see. Objective. So the objective of this lawsuit, the goal was to allow the family's goal, and the whole reasoning behind them filing this lawsuit and trying to sue the Maine Department of Fish and Wildlife, was to allow all types of fishing gear, all fishing gear, on public waters, removing or opening up the fly fishing only designations. And the state of Maine does have quite a few fly fishing only streams that I know, and that are open to fly fishing year round, all the spring, winter, summer, all seasons. I've fly fished on one of the rivers here in Maine that were fly fishing only and were year round, and it was year round fly fishing, and the fishing was phenomenal. I had a great time, and I was pleased with what I was experiencing in that fishery there. And so, but this family wants all waters that are deemed fly fishing only, or that have specific fishing regulations that are only specific to like those certain bodies of water. They want them lifted and non-existent, because they want spin cast fishing and all lures and live bait. They want everything to be allowed on all fisheries and all bodies of water that allow fishing in the state. I can't see that's a good thing. I don't really agree with that. I mean, come on. I mean, there needs to be a fine line drawn here with like using live bait in certain bodies of water. That a lot of times people, and sometimes this is accidental, a lot of times bait buckets, or even like containers of worms, or just live bait in general. A lot of times the live bait accidentally enters a body of water, a pond, lake, or stream, or the person purposefully pours those shiners, that live bait in the body of water, and that's a no. That ain't good. And then there's the invasive aquatic species that enter certain bodies of water because of boat hulls not being scrubbed clean and washed and rinsed off. Like boat motors, props, propellers, and boat hulls not being cleaned when coming from one body of water and before going to another. There's that invasive milfoil that can choke out fisheries. There's certain invasive aquatic species that can be transferred from water to water body off of boats and people's waders and stuff that aren't cleaned and rinsed off before entering another body of water. And those invasive aquatic species can choke out a whole fishery. They grow prolifically and all over through the ponds and lakes, and it can just wreak havoc on a fishery, especially like brook trout fishery or salmon fishery. Let's see, so what else do we have down here? So what do you all think about this lawsuit that this family filed against the Department of Fish, the Maine Department of Fish and Wildlife? What are some of your guys' thoughts and rules? I already got that one, outdoors kids' thoughts on it. He says, no, not a winning argument, but I think it should be the state's idea, not theirs. Yes, indeed. So the lawsuit is part of a broader, well-funded effort to challenge state-level wildlife management authority in Maine and other states. So we got yeah. So the case was this lawsuit case was filed in Kennebec County Superior Court. This was filed in the the state of Maine's Kennebec County Superior Court, and it's still ongoing as of February 2026. So there hasn't been a verdict yet on this. So there, I was wondering about that. Yeah, so this whole lawsuit case being held at the Kennebec County Superior Court is still ongoing. See, the key arguments of this lawsuit are the right to food. The plaintiffs argue that FFO restrictions violate Maine's right to food amendment, passed in 2021, which guarantees the right to harvest food from natural resources for sustenance. Economic discrimination. The family contends that fly fishing is a discipline dominated by the wealthy. Okay. I can go to Walmart and buy everything I need for fly fishing. I could buy some hip waders for probably $25. I could buy a $50 fly rod, some fairly affordable fly back and fly line, some fly. And all in all, for less than $200, I could be equipped with all the fly fishing gear I need to hit those fly fishing only waters, to fly fish for the trout, the landlocked salmon, the brown trout, brook trout, rainbows, and all that, so forth, so on. So you really, this is all debatable stuff here, debatable argument for sure, and it's there's obviously budget friendly fly fishing gear, and there's obviously the gear for the rich, as they're stating that it's a disciplinary dominated by the wealthy. This fly fishing it's dominated by the wealthy. That is not true. Due to the cost of specialized equipment and the time required to master the skill. They argue that excluding spin casting and bait fishing from pristine public waters unfairly discriminates against working class Mainers. Well, if you're a working class, if you're working and have a job, you can afford a fly rod and some waders and some fly line. I can attest. I can remember eons over 30 years ago when I got started in fly fishing for the first time, when I started learning the fly fishing, acquiring the fly fishing gear. I didn't have a pot to piss in, man. I don't even think I had a job when I got started. I didn't have any money. I think I relied on my grandmother and my mom, my family to foot over the money for me to purchase some fly fishing gear to get started. I got started in fly fishing very inexpensively and very affordably. I did it all on a strict budget, and you can too. Everyone can. So that I don't think that they'll win this argument. I really don't. I can't see them. Yeah. So let's see. Now there's all these specific regulations that the Department of Inland Fish and Wildlife put in play for certain lakes, ponds, streams, brooks, waterways in general, that help to conserve the fishery in those bodies of water for there to be enough fish for years to come, for years down the road, for our youth, for our children, for us, for years to come. And now let's think about this in a hunting perspective. Let's think about hunting, about the deer hunting, bear hunting, moose hunting. There's also specific bag limits, hunting regulations and bag limits set in play for hunting as well, for the same reasons. Yeah. And I do know, like, one thing, like the turkey hunt in the state of Maine. I do know there's certain zones in the state that allow people to take like 5 turkey. There's like a bag limit of five eastern wild turkey. Certain parts of the state of Maine, and that's a lot. And there's a lot of debate around that, whether or not that's too many or too few, or whatever. That I mean, really, if we were allowed to just shoot, kill, and take from lakes, ponds, and rivers, don't you think that there would be a depletion? That there would be that we it would wreak havoc on the fisheries and waterways, and it would wreak havoc on the forests and mountains, and on the wildlife. If there were no regulations, no hunting regulations, and no fishing regulations. I mean, yeah. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Let's get into a whole nother topic here. Let's talk ice fishing, shall we? So, who do we have here on the live stream still? Any new chats starting up here? So we have Jacqueline Medina says hello. Hey, how you doing? How's it going, Jacqueline Medina? Are you still with us? I'm getting ready to delve into ice fishing for the brook trout, for monster trophy brook trout. I had an epic adventure, ice fishing adventure here in the last few days, going after some big brookies in hopes to beat my personal best brookie. I wanted to catch my largest brook trout to date. That was one of my goals this one. The last several winters, last several ice fishing seasons had been my goal to catch my personal best brook trout through the ice, and also to catch landlocked salmon from a specific lake that has the landlocked salmon that I keep getting skunked at when I go ice fishing there. I get skunked on this certain lake here in Maine that has landlocked salmon. So it's my goal this winter, before the end of ice fishing season, to finally catch a landlocked salmon from this lake. So I've accomplished 2 of 3 goals I had this winter ice fishing. One goal was to finally find a white perch hotspot for jigging for white perch through the ice fishing, and to have an epic day of catching the white perch through the ice using my Garmin Striker 4 sonar with a flasher and so forth, so on. And me and my buddy Ed and his wife, the 3 of us together caught over 34 or 36. We caught over 30 white perch on a negative -9-degree day, jigging in the Eskimo shelter on this certain lake. And so that accomplished that goal. And my second goal was to catch my personal best brook trout, and I accomplished that just a few days ago. And now my third goal this winter is to finally catch a landlocked salmon from this lake that has become my nemesis. I keep getting skunked every time I ice fish this lake for the salmon. But I have accomplished 2 of those 3 goals that I've had the last couple, 2 or 3 ice fishing seasons. So, I do know, when going after the brook trout, if this is something that you're interested in, that you'd like to do or try, and maybe you're already an avid ice fisherman and you've caught your fair share of brook trout through the years ice fishing, and that's okay, that's fine. But I welcome you to still listen in and to join the chat. Let me know if you are an avid ice fisherman, please, in the chat. Chat away. Let us know if you go ice fishing for brook trout, if you go ice fishing for salmon or togue, lake trout. Maybe you love to go ice fishing up to like West Grand, East Grand, or the Musquashes, or to any body of water in Maine that holds lake trout. Maybe you love to go after them big fish. Maybe you just like to ice fish for bass or bluegill or black crappie or perch. So let me know in the comments what it is you like to ice fish for. And yeah, I'd love to hear from all of you. I'm going to still chat away a little bit about my experience I had a few days ago ice fishing for the brook trout and for and the story around me catching my personal best brook trout through the ice. And then I'm going to hit the emails that I've got. I've got some emails to share, some stories and pics and such, so forth, so on. Okay, so I think it was, today is Monday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday. So Friday, what's today's date? Friday the 20th, wasn't it? Friday 20th, 1 to 2, today's Monday. I think it was the 20th, Friday the 20th. Me and my friend Ed and his wife, we headed for a lake that I've ice fished before. I haven't been ice fishing on this lake for the last 3 years. It's been 3 years since I've been there. And Ed, my buddy Ed, had already caught his personal best brook trout out of this lake earlier this season. And he decided that we should go there, go back to this lake here in Maine, to go try our luck at catching some big monster brook trout, and in hopes that I would catch my personal best brookie. He already had this earlier this year from this lake, and his wife tagged along. So it was me, Ed, and his wife Louise, and we had to drive a snow-covered road that wasn't broken. We had to break trail. We were pretty much plowing snow with our pickup trucks, with my Tundra, and they had another Toyota 4Runner. They were in the lead. We had to use four-wheel drive. Obviously, I actually got hung up on one corner. They were ahead of me and heading up the hill, and we were going around a turn, and I was picking up speed so I could gain traction, so I could make it up the hill and around the turn. But I was getting close to their bumper, and I let off the gas, which was a big no-no, and it caused my tires to spin and caused the truck to slide sideways and fishtail a little bit. And I was hung up and stuck there sideways on this road. And this pond was right there behind my pickup truck. I couldn't go backwards very far. I would have ended up on this pond, and I didn't even know, had no clue if the ice was safe on this thing or not, if there was running water or spring there. I wasn't about to test my luck on backing up onto this pond. I had to just rock it back and forth, my truck, easily, and just until those tires grabbed and gained traction enough so I could straighten her out and get up this hill. But at that, right beforehand though, I messaged Ed, I'm stuck, and he was like, oh no, and he was messaging back, I'll be right back. And then at that point in time, when they got my message, they were sliding sideways and almost went down over an embankment, and they were getting hung up. And he was just hammering down on that gas, not letting up, keeping that vehicle going. They didn't get stuck. They made it, and they got up onto a flat top and waited to see if I made it out of my predicament. And I did. We finally caught back up with one another. We decided to actually park the trucks and hike the rest of the way in. But we were almost there. We almost made it to the parking spot for this lake anyway, to where we had to drive to fish. We only had to go barely a quarter of a mile hike to get the rest of the way to the lake. So long story short, we're on the lake drilling our holes, and there was only like 13 inches of ice on this lake. And at this point in time in the winter in Maine, I was actually shocked to find only 13 inches of ice on this lake. I thought for sure there was 18 plus inches for sure, but I was pretty shocked there was only like 13 inches of ice. But we drilled, I think Ed drilled 1 or 2 holes. He got 1 to 2 tip-ups set up with live bait. Ed actually bought really large shiners. His way of thinking was big bait, big fish. He bought like 2-inch, really thick, fat shiners. He went with all big bait, We're using really large shiners. And I was using these Heritage Laker tip-ups. This is what I was using for a ice fishing trap. And Ed was using these. He has all this style trap tip-up. He has like all these polar tip-up type, this style brand, make, and model tip-up or ice fishing trap. So Ed was using these style tip-ups, and I was using these. And we were using really big bait, big shiners. And I want to say Ed got his second ice fishing trap in the hole, and the first one he had set went up. The flag was up. He got a flag immediately, well, before I even drilled my first hole. And I do believe that was do believe he didn't get anything on that first tip up. The bait was dead though. The bait was mangled and chewed and dead. He had to change his bait on that tip up. And he did, and he proceeded to drill the rest of the holes for him and Louise and set their traps. I finally got my 4 traps set with really big shiners. And I want to pause here for a moment before I go on further into the story, before I get to the point where I catch my personal best brook trout. And I actually broke my personal record on length, on size of brook trout 3 times in this 4 hours that we fished. We only ice fished 4 hours this particular day, and I broke my personal best brook trout 3 times in those 4 hours on this one outing. But I'm gonna get back to that in just a sec. I want to mention that there's three key elements, 3 key tactics or methods or ways to go about targeting brook trout through the ice in the wintertime, ice fishing for brook trout. There's 3 key elements here, 3 key things that you must keep in mind when going to the brook trout waters to try to catch the brook trout through the ice. You want to always remember shallow, think shallow. Always stick to the shorelines of your lakes and ponds. The brook trout are notorious for being in water depths of 5 to 8 feet, 5 to 7 feet. They favor depths of that in the wintertime. And I dare say that that's because there's, in the wintertime, when there's this thing called lake turnover, lake and pond, or there's the lake or pond turnover, and that's when spring, so when the fall comes, the temperatures get colder, and it starts leading into winter months, and the water clearly cools. Once the water was once warm, right, in the summer months, in late spring, summer, all summer long, the water was warm at the surface. Come wintertime, that turns over, that changes, that slips, that flips. The surface becomes cold, 32 degrees or colder, cold enough to freeze to build the ice. And your warm water is now at the bottom of your lakes and ponds. And your brook trout do not tolerate water temps warmer than, I think, 65 degrees, I believe. If I could be wrong, it's either 50 something or I think it's 65 degrees for temp. Is anything over that is too warm for brook trout, if I remember correctly. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So there's that. They don't tolerate temps over 65 degrees, the brook trout. And also they require lots of dissolved oxygen within the water column, water body. So warmer water has less dissolved oxygen. It's almost like choking out the fish. You have your warm water species of fish, clearly, obviously, that do well with minimal dissolved oxygen, and they require warmer water. But your brook trout, brown trout, rainbows, things like your landlocked salmon, species like that, your cold water species of fish, they require lots of dissolved oxygen. And there's going to be more of that near the surface, near the bottom of the ice, closer to the ice in the wintertime. And the water's going to be cold enough for them in the wintertime in the shallows closer to the surface. So think shoreline and shallower waters when targeting the brook trout in the wintertime. And that's what me and Ed did on this lake. We went for the cove, for the point, with some rock piles and rocks. We were in the cove, like part of this lake that was rocky bottom, sandy rocky bottom with some weed beds nearby. It was shallow, and we fished just under the ice. Also, it's you do well to put your bait just barely a foot under the ice. Just several inches to a foot under the ice is all you need for when putting your bait under the ice for brook trout and landlocked salmon and such, so forth, so on. And also the other thing, number 2 thing to keep in mind when fishing for the brook trout is using shiners. Like live bait is good. The brook trout love medium to large shiners, and that's what me and Ed were using today. And it's also very important to obviously check your laws and regulations for the lakes and ponds you're going to ice fish for the brook trout. Make sure you're following all laws and rule regulations for that body of water before chasing after the brook trout through the ice. And the number 3 tip for catching brook trout is jigging. I recommend you set your 4 tip-ups, and then on your 5th hole, jig. Have a jigging pole with jigging lures that brook trout love, can't resist. And you should have a grand old time. You should have no problem catching brook trout if you stick to the shorelines, the shallower waters, and using medium to large shiners and jigging with some favorable jigging lure like the origami blade jigging spoon by 13 Fish. And I've slayed the brook trout this winter with that origami blade jigging spoon by 13 Fish, and I recommend that way. And Swedish pimples, the Cast Master jigging lures and Swedish pimples, and the origami blade jigging spoons. I recommend those lures for brook trout, for jigging for trout through the ice. Okay, back to the story. So Ed and I have all of our tip-ups, and we're sitting on our, what is it, the Siberian ice ball. Yeah, we're sitting on our high-tech fishing gear Siberian ice boxes. We both own one of them Siberian ice boxes by high-tech fishing gear to hold our live bait. It has also storage space for tackle and other fishing gear, and it's like a 3-in-1 carry case. It carries our bait, live bait, carries fishing lures and other tackle and gear that we might need, fishing line, such, so forth, so on. And it acts as a seat. So we're both sitting on our Siberian ice boxes, jigging. Me and Louise and Ed were jigging away. And I think Ed and Louise had the first flag or 2, but I think that their bait was chewed and killed. They had to replace their baits on the first couple tip-ups that they got. And then the third, I do believe the 3rd flag of our fishing outing was my tip-up, was one of my heritage traps. I had a flag, and we actually hook little bells to these flags right here too. So we heard the bells. I don't have any bells on this one, but yeah, me, Ed, and Louise, we put bells on our flags, on our traps. So if we don't catch the flag, see the flag, we might hear the bells. So we heard bells, we saw the flag. It was one of my heritage flags up. And I get the cameras, video cameras turned on, my GoPro on my chest, get my main camera turned on and recording. And I run for the trap and get my tripod open, set up my camera, and I proceed to go to the trap, and I'm waiting for the reel to start turning. I don't like to pick up the trap out of the hole a lot of times. Ed does this. Most ice fishermen do this. They'll wait to see the spool turn before they start lifting the trap out of the hole. And you want to lift kind of slowly and let out some slack on that line, or maybe the fish is running and pulling line anyway, so that fish won't feel the resistance of you pulling that trap up out of the hole. And then will I maybe give it a little yank to set that hook in the lip of that trout. And I did just that. I mean, the trap was shaking like this with that trout pulling the line off of that spool. Ed was certain it was a good one. I didn't know. I set the hook and start pulling it in, and it starts feeling good, guys. And Ed was getting all excited. I'm getting excited. Ed's getting me excited. He's like, Justin, that is a good fish. I had to actually go play it easy, and I actually had to let it pull the line out of my hands, give it some slack. It saw the light from the hole. It saw the hole, and it wanted to run, and it was pulling that line right out of my hand, stripping. And Ed was like, oh my word, that is a big fish. And then we finally saw it swirl at the bottom of the hole, and it was big. The head looked big. And I finally land that fish up on the ice. And we're giving high fives, fist bumping. Ed's like, you did it. I knew it. I knew you'd catch your personal best trout today. He was saying he had a gut feeling that it was going to be my day. Catch a big one, a big lunker, a brook trout from the spot on this lake. And I did just that. I ended up measuring 15 inches. Happened to be my personal best brook trout. I don't think I've caught any brook trout over 13 and a half or 14. Definitely not 40. I think 13 and a half inches is probably the longest brook trout I've ever caught up to this point. And this one measured 15 inches and was fat. It was a beautiful brook trout. And I had Ed take some pictures for me, and I did my little spiel on camera, and then I released it. Let this trout go and reset this trap with another big, large shiner, and then we went back to jigging. And some time went by, maybe almost an hour or so. And remember, like I mentioned earlier, we only ice fished for 4 hours. This day, we got all set up probably close to 10 a.m. and left by 2 p.m. Our fishing time was really only within a 4-hour window. And I get another flag sometime later. And again, on another one of my heritage traps. And this was a different tip up. It wasn't the same one where I just caught this 15-inch brook trout. So I run to that trap and land that fish, get that fish up on the ice. And that one measured 15 1/4 inches. I beat my personal record by 1/4 inch on the second trap on this outing. And, oh, thank you. That one Outdoors Kid is chatting away, saying cool. He's liking the story so far. I appreciate that, bud. The chatter has been slow tonight, but I do. Jason Gibson, that usually always comes on the chat, always joins the live streams, and is usually chatting away. He had to get his snow plow ready and get ready for the storm and snow removal, and is probably plowing right now. We're having a really, really bad snowstorm right now. So I dare say that there's a few folks that are usually with me here that are joining the live stream that aren't on here tonight because of the snowstorm. Most likely they're either out snow blowing, plowing, or they hit the sack early so they can get up early for plowing and snow removal. But that's all right. So I'm going to keep going. So I broke my personal record twice so far. So this second trout was 15 inches and a quarter, 15 1/4 inches. And this one, Ed wanted to keep for his father. My buddy Ed's father said, please bring me home a brook trout. He wanted to have some brook trout to eat for dinner. So Ed kept this trout of mine to bring to his father so he could have some trout for dinner. And I reset this trap, put another large shiner on it, and we go back to jigging. And the only one of us to catch a trout on the jigging pole was Louise, was Ed's wife. And how she caught that one trout, it was like a 9-inch brook trout too that she caught on the jigging pole. how she caught it with a jigging pole is first they had a flag. One of their ice fishing traps, flag went up. They go to it and they try to set the hook, and Louise was playing the fish. She felt it tug and then release. The hook come out of the fish's mouth. So, and Ed's yelling, get your jigging pole, start jigging right now, get that lure in that hole. And she had to run and grab the jigging pole and drop the lure in the hole. And she immediately went to jigging, where she had just lost that brook trout on the trap, and she catches it, or at least a trout. It might not have been the same one that was after the shiner, but she catches a brook trout in the hole that she just missed one on the trap. And it was a nice little 9-inch brook trout. She pulls up through the hole with the jigging pole. So that was neat. And then she releases that fish, and we all go back to jigging. Our traps are set. And we're just waiting it out. And then as time goes by, I get another flag. And this was just an unreal, epic day of ice fishing for me. I do not expect to ever witness this type of ice fishing for brook trout again. That I don't know that I'll ever match this day. I may go on to catch a bigger brook trout, but it may only be just that one. I don't expect to catch 3 large brook trout back to back like I did this day. And I don't expect to break my personal best size brook trout 3 times in a row either. This was just an epic day of ice fishing. So the third fish I land was 16 inches. It was a 16-inch brook trout, and this one was beautiful. It had the orange belly. This was a male brook trout in his spawning colors. He had the orange, bright orange belly, the halos around his blue circles, blue dots on his body were just bright. All the colors, the blues and yellows and oranges and the whites, all the colors were very bright and vibrant on this fish. And he was gorgeous. And he was 16 inches, and it was my personal best brook trout. And I broke that, three times in a row. What are the chances of that? Earlier in the season, it was back in December when Ed was ice fishing on the same lake. He broke his personal best twice, I think, that day. He caught like a 4.5 pound brook trout. Well, I stand corrected. I do believe he told me he caught a brook trout over 24 or 20 something inches before, but only once. He's caught in one over 20 inches. But back in December when Ed was ice fishing this lake, he caught a brook trout with all those beautiful colors. It was fat, plump, and it was, I want to say it was 17 plus inches, maybe 18. He weighed it, and it was like 4+ pounds. It was a monster brook trout. And he had caught another one that wasn't as pretty, like as far as colors go, but it was decent size and was probably like almost 3 pounds. He caught 2 really big lunker brook trout on that one outing back in December out of the same lake. So this lake is just known for big brookies. And brook trout over 20 inches have been pulled out of this lake. Like 23, 24 to 28-inch brook trout have been caught out of this lake. So hopefully one day when I go back there, maybe I'll break my personal record, my personal breast size brook trout again. And hopefully it'll be 17, 18 plus inches. You never know. You just got to keep at it. I mean, that's fishing for you right there. You just never know. You don't. Same thing with hunting. You can't kill them sitting on the couch. You can't catch the fish sitting on the couch. You just got to go do it. You got to get out there and have fun and enjoy it. Enjoy the time with friends and family. Enjoy the adventure, man. So there, that's that story. That's my fishing story, and I'm sticking to it. So anybody have any questions or anything they want to share on the chat? So I bet I bet he's oh nice. Yeah, that one outdoors kid said, yeah, he was referring to Jason, my buddy Jason. He said, I bet he's here on the live stream, but just playing on his phone. Jason's usually really good at chatting away, at joining the chat. So now that I finished my story about my epic ice fishing adventure for trophy brook trout, I'm going to share some emails by Jason Gibson, actually. So let's see what, let me go down to the first one he sent here last week. So this buddy of mine, Jason, he's really good at sending emails weekly with some pics of fish he caught. And oh, wow, this is nice. So here is here's a chain pickerel that Jason caught this past week. That's a really cool, neat looking trap, ice fishing trap. It's similar to those polar tip ups, but it's made of wood and looks like a yeah, I don't know, it's just a real unique trap. So see these chain pickerel, it looks like they have chain link fence on the sides of them. The pattern on their scales, on their bodies, look like a lot like chain link fences, hence the name chain pickerel. They're related to like the muskellunge and your pike. They're part of that family, the pike, muskellunge, and so forth. So let's see, this is, what was he sharing here? So I was closer to your neck of the woods on Patrick Lake off of Route 86. So this is Patrick Lake, and oh yeah, so he caught, this lake has a lot of chain pickerel in it. It gets stocked with trout. This Patrick Lake here has a lot of white perch. I've caught tons of chain pickerel out of it. I do go there to target the white perch sometimes. There's a kids-only ice fishing derby on this lake next Saturday, on this Patrick Lake. Let's see, what else does he have for us? So this is nice. Looks like a brook trout. Might be a splake. Let's see. The blue dots aren't very distinct. It does have, no, might be a female brook trout or something, but it could be a splake too. So some trout he caught there. See, does he have anything, any word? No, it's just a picture. That's a nice one. All right, what else do we have here? Oh, no. Oh, look at this one, guys. It's another nice chain pickerel that he caught. Jason is the chain pickerel master. He catches a ton of chain pickerel. He did go after some lake trout earlier this year, a couple weeks ago, and he got skunked as far as lake trout goes. But I do believe he caught a white perch just shortly before picking up and leaving. But he does catch a lot of chain pickerel in the places he goes fishing. See, this must be some, what do you think that is there, guys? Yeah, that's that. I did see up in the email. Let's see, one of a pair of eagles hanging out. They got some snacks. Yep. Now, on the bodies of water, the majority of the lakes and ponds in the state of Maine have regulations or laws or rules set in play where it states that if chain pickerel are caught, or smallmouth bass or largemouth bass, that the rules or laws or regulations for that body of water state that you should kill them immediately or keep not to return them back to the body of water, because the inland fish and wildlife biologists, so forth, so on, they are trying to preserve the lake trout fishery in that lake or pond, or landlocked salmon fishery, and they want the predators type fish, your bass and pickerel, killed immediately or kept and not returned back to the body of water. So a lot of ice fishermen, what they do, they throw their bass and pickerel on the ice, and they're not going to waste. The bald eagles will swarm and circle the lakes and ponds. I've had this experience many a times ice fishing. When throwing a pickerel out on the ice, the bald eagles come and swoop them up, grab them with their feet, and they'll go and perch up in a tree, and you can watch them tear the flesh off the fish. They'll hold it with their big feet and their claws, and with their beaks they'll tear and peck into the fish and tear the meat off the fish and eat it. And it's really cool to watch. Neat experience. So that's what Jason did that particular day. Okay, this was Jason saying, have a great live stream tonight. I'll be cleaning up snow or preparing for the early morning snow cleanup because of our storms. There you have it. Neato. Yeah, so Jason, he's known for chain pickerel, man. He catches a lot of chain pickerel when ice fishing. All right, everybody. Who else is with us on this live stream? I see there's a handful of you still here. Why don't you guys say hi? I'd love to hear from you. If you could, say hi so I know who you are. And let me know if you've been ice fishing this year so far and what you've caught through the ice. Have you accomplished any personal bests this year ice fishing so far? Like I just got done sharing my story of my epic adventure going after the big lunker brook trout. And the story was that me and Ed almost got stuck and hung up in the deep snow. And we had to hike the rest of the way in. But it was worth it because I broke my personal best size brook trout 3 times in a row in this 4 hours of ice fishing. All right, let's go here and join the chat.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it.
So, I wonder if Jacqueline Medina is still here. She said hi. Are you still on here, Jacqueline? If you are, have you ever been ice fishing before? Are you an avid ice fisherman or woman? Do you, how about this? Those of you that are just joining, do you hunt deer, bear, moose, turkey, coyote, fox, bobcat? Do you go ice fishing? Do you go fly fishing? I have a very expensive, like, antique fly rod here that my boss from work trusted me with. He gave to me to hold to try to sell. This fly rod's worth over $2,000. According to him, he says it's worth like $2,600. And he told me he'd give me $500 if I could sell it for at least $2,000. It's an old antique Orvis pole fly rod. And yeah. I actually want to try something real quick before the end of the live stream. I don't know what's up with my throat. I didn't bring a drink up with me. My throat's dry because I've been talking so much. I've been live for nearly an hour. So here I have the Garmin Striker 4 sonar. It's the Garmin Striker 4 ice fishing bundle. I can get you a drink. I wish you could. Yes, please do. And come all the way from Pennsylvania, that one Outdoor Kid, and bring me a nice ice cold drink. I would love it. Appreciate it. I normally have like a Propel water up here with me, or a water or something. My throat's off. Me and my dad use a Humminbird. Nice. My best friend Jason uses a Humminbird sonar. So his Humminbird is more rectangle-like. It's long. But this Garmin Striker 4 ice fishing bundle has the ice fishing transducer. And I just recently posted a video. My newest episode on my channel is about using the flasher on this sonar and the settings that I choose for it. And I go over the gain, how to adjust the gain and the right amount of gain, whether or not, whether or not the higher the percentage of gain or the lower the percentage of gain is best for 25 foot of water, 30 feet of water for perch. The video was of me and Ed and Louise ice fishing for white perch using the Garmin Striker Force sonar with the set on the flasher mode. And I was in that video, I was going over all the steps, how to use the flasher, how to read the flasher, how to interpret the red, green, yellow color scheme. That's the color scheme I chose. You can choose different color schemes. If you don't like the red, green, yellow colors, you can change that in the settings on here. But I like the red, green, yellow color scheme. And I also was going over how to adjust the gain. So when you're on flasher, if you click the menu button, it's this 3-line button on the top right of the sonar. That's your menu button, or select, well, it's just your menu button anyway. Then you have your up and down and over arrows to navigate the sonar. So if you select gain, that's when you can click on the up arrow and you can adjust your gain. You can use your right and left arrows to go higher in gain. The higher the percentage, I'm at 81%, the more sensitivity you get from the transducer. If it's a dual beam transducer, I'm at the 50 kilohertz to 50 kilohertz for the dual beam transducer gives you more of a cone shape below your hole. It's going to pick up fish and disturbance and anything going on in a 45-degree cone under your ice fishing hole. If you choose the 200 kilohertz, it's KHS, yeah, the 200 kilohertz, that gives you just a straight down cone, and it's going to detect anything just immediately under the ice fishing hole. So I usually like to put my gain, so for depths of like 10 to 20 feet, I like the gain right around 70 to 60%. If I'm fishing for brook trout in depths of like 5 to 10 feet, I like a 60 to 50% gain. I noticed that in the shallower water, the lesser gain, the lower percentile on your gain, the better. The more percentage in shallower water, the higher the gain, the bigger, thicker the line. It's hard to determine if it's a fish or your lure on the flasher. The deeper the water, the more gain you want, more percentage on the gain in the deeper waters. You want to have your lure showing up as just a light green mark on the flasher. Just one little thin green mark. See, this is the red, yellow, green color scheme. And what that means is the darker, brighter colors means denser object, such as a fish. And your lure would be less dense, smaller object. So that light, thin green line on the flasher would be your lure going up and down as you're jigging. And then when a fish comes into play, if a fish is seeing your lure and watching it and kind of interacting with your lure, you'll start seeing yellow, reddish, thicker marks flashing on the flasher coming nearby your lure. And when those marks turn red, bright red, and you hear a chirp off your sonar, you know that the fish is getting ready to strike. You're enticing that fish and you're attracting that fish, and you're about ready to get a bite on your lure when you see the marks turn bright red and the chirping starts going off. That's when you want to get ready for that bite. You might want to slow your jigging action down and just tink the rod tip a little bit. Just keep that lure swaying and moving a little bit to entice and hopes to, you know, get a bite from the fish. So there. So that's that. But that, my latest episode uploaded on my YouTube channel went over all this, went over that, and actually shows some fish in action. It shows me and Ed catching some white perch and actually in real time. It's in that video. If you watch it, you'll see the marks of the fish, and you'll see my lure at like 20 feet going up and down, and you'll actually, I have the video camera focused on this flasher showing the fish marks and showing the fish coming at my lure and interacting with my lure. And then in real time with the cameras rolling, I catch a white perch. I can tell, I'm watching and reading the flasher and interpreting it and knowing, and I'm voicing it on camera, saying, okay, I'm about ready to get a bite now. He's right there. He's going to hit. I'm going to get him. I'm going to catch him. And whammo, I get him all real time. I got that all on, I was videoing live, got it all live real time, which is so cool. And that's all in the latest upload on my YouTube channel. So to back out of flasher mode, to go back, you hit the back arrow right here. You can go, keep going. Okay, so now we're back to the home screen. And you can, up here is traditional fish finder. What's really cool is I watched a YouTube video from another guy's YouTube video, from another guy's YouTube channel on fishing gear and fishing stuff. And he shared a video on 4 settings that the majority of fishermen don't know exist on these Garmin Striker 4 sonars. Most fishermen ignore these settings and don't even know about them and don't set these settings on these sonars to make their experience that much better and make their fishing experience that much better. But see here, I've got a column on the side of the fish finder. Well, you might not be able to see it, but you can, on the traditional fish finder, you can set up a flasher. I got a column on the right side of the screen that acts just like the flasher mode in the flasher setting. And then I can still watch traditional fish finder, watch the fish scrolling through underneath my hole, underneath the transducer, real time. And then I also have this set up so that it shows the depth that the fish is at. So if a fish enters the fish finder screen at 20 feet, it'll have the number 20 with that little fish symbol. So I'll know that fish was at 20 feet. Or the fish enters the screen at 10 feet, and the number 10 will be right next to that little fish symbol as he swims by at 10 feet. So I got that set up. And then over here, I can watch my lure going up and down in this little flasher mode on the right side of the traditional fish finders. That's a cool setting that I learned about by watching another YouTube video on how to use the Garmin Striker 4 sonar and on how to figure out all the different settings and all kinds of hidden, unique, really cool settings and features within this unit that most fishermen just don't know about. A lot of people aren't like tech savvy or they just don't want to screw it up and ruin the settings that they're used to and have already set up. And a lot of fishermen are reluctant to change the settings because they're having success with it the way they have it set up currently, and that's understandable. But it doesn't hurt to try new things every now and then to enhance your experience out there on the water. So let's see, there's split frequency. Okay, so it's still showing my flasher columns in the split frequency mode too. Yeah, and I do believe, so yeah, on split frequency, you have your 200 kilohertz section and your 50 kilohertz. Remember what I mentioned earlier, the 50 kilohertz, if you have your unit set up I'm in Maine, by the way. How you doing, Alexa Bell? 72. I'm from the state of Maine. Are you an ice fisherman? Alex Bell, do you go ice fishing? Do you use fishing units like the Garmin Striker 4 or the Humminbird or the Vexilar or anything like that? Yeah, let us know in the chat if you ice fishing. Are you an avid ice fisherman? Hit enter. So what's neat about the split frequency on the these Garmin Striker 4 sonars, is you have both kilohertz settings. You have the 200 kilohertz settings, which is just a straight down. The transducer is just showing on the 200 kilohertz side of the split frequency, showing straight down. I'm shooting a beam straight down below your hole, showing you what's immediately below your hole. On the 50 kilohertz side, you're getting more of a 45-degree cone-like shape reading under your hole. So on the 50 kilohertz side of the split frequency, you'll see fish off to anywhere from 2 to 5 feet around your ice fishing hole. And then on the 200 kilohertz side, you'll see fish immediately below. So when a fish enters this side, the 200 kilohertz side, you'll know that fish was immediately under you. And if you see fish enter the 50 kilohertz side, that fish could be 1 to 5 feet off to the side of your hole in that cone. He just chirped. Nice. So that's what they sound like when they make their set, when the fish enters the screen. It has a chirping sound. You probably just heard it. It just chirped and showed a fish up here. The more I disturb, that's because I'm disturbing the sonar. I'm disturbing the transducer. I moved it around, wiggled it around. So it's showing some noise. It's picking up the disturbance from me wiggling the transducer around. Nice. So Alex Bell says, never tried it. I'm in Virginia. A lot of rivers, big smallmouth guy. Nice. So welcome from Virginia. I appreciate you joining the live stream. So if you guys are just joining, I go live every Monday nights at 9 p.m. My Spikes and Gills live streams, the whole reason behind it, the whole point for me going live every Monday night is to create a fish and hunting community centered around my live streams every Monday nights at 9 p.m. to talk about hunting or fishing or current events around fishing and hunting, or to share people's emails that they sent in with their photos and their hunting success stories or fishing success stories. I give a shout out and share their stories, show their pics, and so forth, so on. And let's go back. Let's get off of here. And yeah, so welcome from Virginia. That's cool. I get guys on here from New Zealand, people on here from Canada, from all over the world, pretty much. And we can just all join the community, the Spikes and Gills community, on the live streams every Monday nights, talk fishing and hunting and share stories, answer people's questions, ask questions. So welcome from Virginia. That's awesome. So I love fishing for smallmouth bass. It is really fun catching smallmouth bass on the fly pole. I used to a lot as a teenager fish the Saco River in Maine. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that river. It's a famous, well-known river in the state of Maine, the Saco River. It's known for its big lunker, large smallmouth bass and stuff. And I used to always use like the woolly buggers or little woolly worms or woolly buggers tied to my leader at the end of my fly rod. And I'd wade in the river and fish around the rocks, rock crevices, and catch big smallmouth bass on my fly rod out of that river. So I had a lot of fun. I had a blast doing that. It's fun catching big lunker smallmouth bass through the ice fishing too. So see, that one outdoors kids, I got to use the Humminbird for the first time while in Canada to fish pike, and it almost got pulled in a few times. and also went to over 300-foot depth, even though we were only in 50 to 150. Huh. Also did the hummingbird. Sounds like it acted up on you. So I think you said your hummingbird was reading 300 feet when you were only in 150 feet of water. That's interesting. So you went after pike. Did you guys have any luck catching big pike? Canada, that's still on my bucket list. I need to catch cusk and pike and muskie. I've caught in all. Oh, and then obviously, crap, what did Jason call them? But there's 3 or 4 fish species I still need to catch in the state of Maine. Northern pike is one of them. Yeah. Yeah, smallmouth are. I agree, smallmouth. They put on a show, a fight, a show, and they jump good. Smallmouth bass are a great fish to catch and to fight and to fish for in general. See, me and my best friend Jason, we grew up bass fishermen. We were bass fishermen first and foremost. Me and my best friend Jason, all through the spring, summer, and early fall, we would go on his uncle Ralph's bass boat or his father's bass boat and go bass fishing in the southern Maine lakes and ponds for smallmouth and largemouth bass. But it wasn't until later on in life that we took heavily to fly fishing and got more into fishing for trout and salmon and stuff. And now that I'm older, I've had a chance to catch a lot of brook trout, a couple rainbows, some big, huge brown trout, some landlocked salmon, some lake trout. So me and my buddy Ed were going on a really cool, epic adventure, ice fishing adventure again. Another couple of weeks, we're going to Moosehead Lake to go fish for lake trout and cusk and salmon and trout. And I cannot wait. We are stoked. We're excited. We're sleeping right in the ice shack, right out on the lake. We'll be jigging for cusk, fishing for cusk all night long. And that's a fish I have yet to catch. So I'll have, yeah. Well, I'll have met 3 of 4 goals I had so far in the last few years ice fishing. Yeah, so yeah, that would be really cool to catch some cusk finally. Then next up will be hopefully going for some northern pike, do some pike fishing. Next winter I'm going to definitely ice fish for pike. I'm making a point and an effort to do so. 30 inches and 30, so cool. So if you're still here, yeah, Alex Bell, if you're still on here, did you guys have much luck pike fishing in Canada? Or no, I'm sorry, no, that wasn't you. That was that one outdoor kid. That one outdoor kid went. Yes, there you go. You answered 30, 32-inch pike. Wow, that's pretty good size. What the heck did those weigh? I bet those were like 6 to 8 pound fish. Let's see, my landlocked salmon I caught a couple years ago was 24 inch. Yeah, I haven't caught very many fish over 24 inches. So that's a large for 30, 32-inch long fish is a big fish. Yeah, 6 to 7 pounds I was about right. I guesstimated right. That's awesome. That's nice. Very, very nice. What the heck was that? This storm is brewing, man. It's like 35, 40 mile per hour winds. I just heard, I don't know if that was a wind gust or a plow that went by. That was loud. So that one outdoor kid, congratulations on your pike fishing adventure up in Canada. Or congratulations on those beautiful fish. And Alex Bell, if you're still here, I thank you for joining from all the way from Pennsylvania, from Virginia. And I wish you all the best of luck out there on your fishing adventures and hunting adventures. Virginia, there's some good deer hunting in Virginia. I think you can shoot quite a few. I think the bag limit on deer, white-tailed deer, is quite high in Virginia. I think you're allowed to shoot like 6 or more does and a couple bucks. If I could be mistaken, but I think that's one state where you can shoot a lot of deer. Oh, nice. That One Outdoor Kid has a post on his channel about the pike. I also somehow got the smallest one too. Nice. You caught some big ones, and you got the trophy for the smallest pike. Me and my buddies, we go on this annual fly fishing, camping, canoeing trip every year, and we last year, for the first time, we started some competitions. The first day we fish, we all have to fish with the same lure the whole way down the river. When we canoe the river down to the takeout point, we all have to fish with this one lure, and then we have a money pot. We all put so much money in the pot, and whoever caught the most fish on that lure on the trip down wins the money on the first day. And then we have a trophy. We have the trophy for the lunker fish, and a trophy for the smallest fish caught on the trip. And these trophies we just bring back with us to camp every year, and they end up in someone's house each year. Whoever got the biggest fish will get the trophy for the biggest. Whoever got the smallest will get the trophy for the smallest. We just make it fun, and just something new we decided trying. Yeah, you did it as nice. That's sweet, cool. So, well, does that say 81 minutes or 6? Wow, I've been live, been on here for a long time, past my bedtime. I've got to get up early for snow removal too, so I should probably end the live stream shortly here. Nice. That's cool, That One Outdoor Kid. So I want to get off here. I'm going to search That One Outdoor Kid. That One Outdoor Kid. That One Outdoor Kid. I think this is your channel. I do believe. Possibly. Oh, maybe not. I don't see the pike. Oh, wait, do I have to go to shorts? So I don't think that's your... Maybe it's this one. John Days. Oh, it could be this one. That One Outdoor Kid. I was looking for your YouTube channel to see if I can see those little videos or clips or pics of your fish. Did you mean should be the first channel that pops up? Oh, so is this you? That One Outdoor Kid. Yeah, is this you? Yeah. There we go. Was that you right there? Probably not. Let me go back. Which one is it? No, I got triple O's. Oh, okay. Oops. That One Outdoor Kid, it must be this one right here. There we go, this must be you. 140 videos. Posts. Oh, that's a pie ball. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm trying to find your channel. Oh, let's see here. Type that one, Outdoor Kid. So is this not your channel? You said you had some pike footage. Scroll down. Yep. Oh, that's you. Okay. In post. Nice. Daily rise. See posts. Shorts. Nice. Looking for. We have 5 cats. Is this your cat? Me and my family have 5 cats. We have a Maine Coon cat too. We're crazy cat people. I'm the cat box police and shower daddy. If they need to be bathed, I do the shower. Let's see here. Cool, man. Nice. Anywho's it? Yeah, I should probably hit the sack. I gotta get up early for snowplow, for snow removal. So I thank everybody for joining this Monday night's live stream. Again, like I state many times, throughout the live stream, so that way if anyone's joining that's new to the channel, they know that I go live every Monday nights at 9 p.m. to build a hunting, fishing community centered around my Spikes and Gills live streams, to talk hunting and fishing, current events about hunting and fishing, to share stories with one another, ask questions on chat, answer people's questions, and that's just what the live streams are all about for my. Yeah, I'm tired, tongue-tied. I don't even know what else to say other than thank you everybody for joining. And thank you all those of you that have subscribed to my channel, Spikes and Gills. Thank you for chatting, leaving the comments, and clicking like. Thank you for all that. In the description below all my videos, there's the PayPal links for my 2 books, The Sit Spot, Discovering the Forest Near You, and Wild Maine Outdoors, Hunting Tactics, Tricks, and Secrets. The PayPal links to order these 2 books are in the descriptions below all my YouTube videos. And you can also order them off of Amazon. They're in all 6 Sherman bookstores across the state of Maine. They're also ebooks. You can go to lulu.com and buy either one of the books as an ebook to download on your Nooks, Kindles, iPads, or smartphones, or PCs. And so there you have it. And then obviously there's the shopping icon. You can click on to browse my Spikes and Gills merch. So thank you, everybody, and I hope to see you all back here next Monday night at 9 p.m. Everyone have a good night. Until then, happy fishing, stay safe.